Separatists were dedicated to gaining independence of their homeworlds and systems from the Republic. However, by the end of the war, they found themselves subjugated beneath the autocratic boot of Palpatine and his galactic empire. But what exactly did ex-separatists think of this new empire? So before we begin, I do just want to say this video is going to be mostly speculation, as it's very difficult to say what most separatists thought of the Empire. And I want to start by saying that I don't think necessarily all separatists hated the Empire, despite this massive clash of ideologies. Particularly, those who were humans and lived on poorer Outer Rim worlds may have actually seen the Empire as a step up from the Republic. At the end of the day, most separatists didn't like the Clone Wars. They just felt compelled to be in it due to not want to be part of the massive bureaucracy that was the Republic. But now that bureaucracy was gone, and granted what took its place was not what they wanted, but I do think some people may have seen it as better. Firstly, the Empire had a strong focus on unity, where everyone served it, and for this reason, it wanted to make the most of its new territories that were maybe neglected by the Republic. The Empire invested troops and resources into poor worlds around the Outer Rim, for example Lothal, and with that did come a lot of negatives, but it's important to say that they are putting resources into these worlds. We can also say that arguably the Empire was maybe fairer than the Republic. I'm not saying by any means it was kind, but the Empire didn't introduce policies that only benefited core worlds and neglected the Outer Rim worlds, many of which were ex-separatist. The Empire kind of had a blanket view of all of these worlds, and they didn't really specify that they had favourites. Granted, Coruscant was given extra treatment, but in general, there was no real favouritism, and to some separatists, that must have felt quite nice to be put on an equal playing field to these wealthy worlds that had lorded over them in the Age of the Republic. At the end of the day, these once powerful worlds were now just servants of the Empire, just like they were. We should also talk about the fact that the Empire actually de-restricted a lot of practices and regulations that had previously made it impossible for poorer separatist worlds to compete with other wealthy core ones, possibly the largest one being slavery. On many separatist worlds, they didn't have the finance capable to run large operations such as mass farming or mining, because equipment and droids etc. were very expensive, and Republic regulations were difficult to meet. But by removing these regulations and allowing slave labour, the Empire kind of benefited them. Now, obviously, this is wrong on so many different levels, but it must have been somewhat nice for the separatist planets as a whole to just feel like they were actually able to compete and do something in comparison to in the Age of the Republic when it just wasn't an option. Despite this, I think many separatists will still have been incredibly disgruntled with this new empire conquering the galaxy. At the end of the day, it was just a new autocratic veneer over the Republic it had tried so hard to escape. Not only this, but their independence was at an all-time low. Imperial law dominated all aspects of their life, and separatists hate that. We also need to remember the Empire was staunchly anti-alien, and many separatist worlds were primarily alien populated. For this reason, you can imagine there was a lot of animosity there. We also need to remember the Empire basically had total control over the market, which is not something that the separatists generally liked. As we've discussed previously, they like a big free market. Nearly every large company that used some sort of strategic resources, such as food, or mining, or industry, was state-owned. Essentially, the Empire had a monopoly on just about everything. This was of course not popular with the majority of separatists, who had previously enjoyed a relatively free market under the CIS. Now everything they bought and sold had to go through a bureaucratic loop of the Empire, and they had to deal with all of these high standards and regulations that the Imperials brought in. And let's not even get started on taxes, the Empire was pretty heavy-handed with those. And again, separatists hate paying taxes. Ultimately, I don't believe many ex-separatists will have enjoyed their lives under the Empire, because it was the exact opposite of what they were fighting for. This government was far bigger and more tyrannical than the Republic before it, although some notable groups will have benefited. But at the end of the day, majority of them were left standing alone, with less rights and less resources than ever before, just a cog in the Imperial machine. But what do you guys think? Did ex-separatists think the Empire was good or bad, and why? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I do hope that you enjoyed. If so, please remember to like, share and sub, as it's really appreciated and it helps the channel grow. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at The Lore Guy and tick the bell for regular updates. Most importantly though, thank you for watching, I really do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.